Cale Yarborough on his property in Olathe, South Carolina. How are you doing this morning?
Well, I'm doing fine. I got a little sore leg, but other than that, I'm doing good.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, can you explain to us, for our viewers, where we're at right now?
Well, we're we're in Sardis, South Carolina.
Oh, Sardis. Okay.
Sardis. But my mailing address is Atlanta.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Sardis is where I was born and raised, and so I'm right here at home.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, the reason we have you here is we've come down here from Lionel Racing to have you sign a 500 diecast, and one of the diecasts you'll be signing today is the number 27 1967 Ford Galaxie that you drove in the, or 1965 Ford Galaxie that you drove in the in a couple races. And one of the particular races I want to ask you about is the 1965 Darlington. The Darlington race, I think it was the Southern 500,
Southern 500,
where you went over the fence. And if you can kind of give us a story about that.
Well, this was actually my first real good race car. Joe Matthews gave me and Ford Motor Company gave me a shot at being their drivers, and it was a good race car, and we ran real well with it. And that particular day, I was battling for the lead with another young driver named Sam McQuagg. Okay. And I got up by him several times and didn't get it completely by him. But so this particular lap, I got all the way up beside him and going into the first turn, and we tangled just a little bit. And my car, for some reason, just got airborne. And it went over the hood of Sam McQuagg's car, over the fence, never touched the fence, and into the parking lot upside of a telephone pole.
So how far of a drop-off was that?
Oh, it must be 50 feet on the other side. It's a big drop-off, yeah. It felt like, I have told a story that when I was still trying to drive it, and I saw some grass, and I knew that the racetrack didn't have any grass on it, right. So I knew I was in big trouble then. But it was a good race car, and the only thing that was left of it is where I was sitting.
Wow! And you walked away unharmed?
Walked away. Well, they couldn't even get the ambulances around there, so I had to climb back up the bank and get picked up over there.
Wow! And I'm assuming they didn't probably have infield care centers at that time where you could go check yourself out.
Oh yeah, well, I had to go to the care center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, also one of the other things I want to ask you about is everybody knows the 1979 Daytona 500 as one of the most seminal points in NASCAR history because of a huge snowstorm that was happening on the East Coast, and so a lot of people were trapped inside to watch nothing but the Daytona 500. And to say you got into a bit of a interesting scrap at the end of the race would be an understatement. And we've heard many comments from some of the other people that were involved in that fight that your face hit Donnie Allison's Bobby Allison's fist. And so I want to get your perspective on that and your side of the story.
Well, the real story is that I had Donnie beat.
Right. I
was in the right place. I knew I had him beat, and of course it had rained all night, and everything on the infield was wet. So when I pulled up beside him going down the backstretch to slingshot him around to win the race, he ran me off the racetrack down into the mud. Right. And of course, when I hit that mud, I didn't have any control of the car then, and we ended up tangling up and tearing both cars up, and it made me mad enough to fight, and that's what I did.
So had 30 to 40 some years later, have you all made amends?
Oh, we've made amends the next day.
Oh,
good. Just one of those racing things.
Right. Yeah. Wonderful. We also have another diecast here. It's the 1970 or 1968 number 21. If you want to show the camera that, and I'll take this one. And if you could tell us, do you have any interesting stories regarding that one?
Well, yeah, this was a great car for me. I drove for the Wood Brothers, and I won the first Daytona 500 in this car, and we won a lot of races with it. This was a good race car, and it was a privilege to drive for the Wood Brothers. They were such great people and put out such good equipment. But that was a good car.
Good. Well, a lot of people know that you were the first driver to win 3 straight NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championships in 1976, 77, and 78. Between those 3 years, you also put together a lot of wins. In those 3-year period, what was the turning point for you that you thought that, hey, I could possibly go down as a legend in NASCAR?
Yeah, well, when I joined up with Junior Johnson, see, when I drove for the Wood Brothers, they only ran the super speedways. We didn't run the short track, so they didn't run the championship. And it was in this car that I won the 1968 Southern 500. That was the last race ran at Darlington on the original racetrack.
Okay.
So I wouldn't take anything for that win. But I joined up with Junior Johnson, and Junior wanted to run for the championship, and that was a great marriage. He had never won a championship, and I hadn't either, so we won 3 in a row.
Wonderful. Was there one of those 3 championships? Which one was the most meaningful for you?
Well, all of them were meaningful, but that first one is always
Most
special.
Good.